Welcome to ELR-Precision. I'm Gil Steele, and this is the Hawke Frontier 5-30 by 56. And this is a scope with a illuminated reticle in the first plane, so it's the first focal plane. And that of course means, as you probably all know by now, we'll probably do a video on that at some point, that the reticle gets enlarged when you zoom in. I'll just show you. Zoom out. Reticle gets small. Zoom in. Reticle gets big. And what we're trained on out there is the, I believe it's a 1600 meter target. I'm not quite sure though. Different video. 1309 meters. And it actually gives us, the Hawke here actually gives us a quite clear picture of what we see at that range. I've been using this scope now for quite a while, and it so far hasn't missed a beat. I've had some Hawks in the earlier days that didn't perform as well, but this Hawke Frontier actually does quite a good job. As I said, it's a 5-30 by 56. So at 5 power, this is how it looks, and at 30 power, this is how it looks. Now the turrets on this thing are actually quite large. I like that a lot. They're also quite clicky and they're quite audible. I like that a lot. And when you do work the turrets, they do not rise up, they do not go down. And that of course leaves a little bit of an issue knowing which rotation you're in. Normally, I would see on scopes with turrets and with ballistics and so on that you have some kind of indication. Either you have a little stick that comes up, or you have the turret that rises up so you can see a little scale over which rotation you're in. The Hawke does not do this, so you don't quite know where you are in your rotation. That's a little bit annoying, but what are you going to do? It's okay. You got to count, I guess. It is very tactile. I like that a lot. And it's also got quite a good eye relief. You can see that in the camera, that the camera is picking up the scope all the way down, or the reticle all the way down. It's not a lot of scopes where the camera can actually pick that up all the way down. That's actually quite a seldom thing to be able to see that the camera picks that up all the way. Now the windage is the same. Also quite good. Well, quite good and quite good. There are a couple of dead clicks at the edges at the very bottom. Couple of dead clicks out there. No, actually that's okay. Looking at the glass in the Hawke Frontier, it's actually quite good. I like the way that the Hawke Frontier does not have too bad of a chromatic aberration. It's actually quite decent. The way it's put together. I also like that everything is made out of metal. I like that the turrets are relatively large, so you can actually grab them like I like to grab them. I like to grab them like this and give them a good turn. And that's both the windage and the elevation turrets. It would be cool, and I know that is a part of the box. I don't have it with me today, but the throw lever really makes it to be a quick throw on the zoom, and I like that a lot. This is probably the scope with the easiest parallax adjustment. This is crazy light, how this works and how this operates. It's actually so light that I would say it's a little bit too light. And it's funny how I have, on the one hand, I don't want it too taut, and I don't want it too loose. I'm kind of like Goldilocks. I like it right in the middle. So, and this to me is a little bit too loosey-goosey. So something in between loosey-goosey and taut is my preferred area of, well, zoom and parallax, and the illumination is quite taut on it. And that, again, is me being Goldilocks. And actually, I have brown hair, so I'm not very Goldilocksy at all. So the illumination, when we do look at the illumination, when we get turned over where it's on, is actually quite good. The reticle down there is illuminated all the way out to the cross, or out to the thicker bars out at the side. I prefer it that way. I prefer my entire Christmas tree to be lit up. And talking about Christmas tree, this also has a Christmas tree that goes all the way to 20 mils, or is it 15 mils? I'm going to have to edit that, which one it is, because I don't remember. It's got a nice big Christmas tree in there, which actually makes it a lot easier to call your shots if you do go over. And one of the reasons why you would go over is that if you do put the zero stop in this scope, you lose about 10 mil of adjustment. This has, in this configuration with the zero stop, this has 19.4 mils of adjustment. And of course you can take the zero stop out of it, but that would also mean that when you do, or when we use it for long range, we like to be able to come back to our zero, which is typically at 100 meters-ish. And if you don't have the zero stop, you have no clue where you are. So you're gonna have to zero your rifle every time, and that sucks. So that would be something that I would hope that Hawke would work on, that not that many mils are taken away from the elevation when you put the zero stop in there, because the zero stop is really a must-have in long range scopes. I also hope that they're going to work on the tautness of the illumination, because that's too taut. I also hope they're going to work on the tautness of the parallax, because that's not taut enough. I'm sorry. The zoom is just right. It's just in that Goldilocks zone that we like. It's not too taut, not too light. It's just perfect. I like that a lot. The entire scope is made out of metal. I like that a lot. That gives it a higher quality feel to the scope. I like the way that everything is put together. It looks and it feels to be really high quality. It is also a relatively expensive scope, so it is not in the cheaper end of the reasonably priced scopes. This is in Denmark, about 10,000 kroners, which is around 1,200 euros, and around, what's that, 1,200, 1,300 bucks ish, something like that, in Denmark. And in Denmark, everything is insanely expensive, so that's not international prices. I'm not quite sure what the American price is on this, but windage and elevation are lockable. Nice big 50 millimeter, 56 millimeter bell, 5 to 30. It says so in there. Whatever, it also says Frontier. It does. It says Frontier right there. 34 FFP. So it was a Frontier. That's positive. And yep, I would on this give the glass a. Right now we can't see through the scope no more. That kind of sucks. What did I do? What did I do? There we go. All right, the glass on this, I would give that a 7 out of 10. The parallax, because it's a little bit too light for my liking, I'm going to give that a 6 out of 10. The zoom, I'm going to give that also a 7 out of 10. Actually, quite like that. The illumination, I'm kind of torn, because the illumination of the reticle is really good, but the tautness of the screw dial out there is too much. So I'm going to give that a 6, a big 6. The overall build quality of the Frontier 5-30 by 56, I'm going to give that a good solid 8 out of 10, because it is put well together. It does feel high quality, and I can't really fraud it, because it does what it's supposed to do. These are just my personal opinions on what the scope can do and what it cannot do. And I think the rest of this we can take at the bench. So I'll see you there. All right, we're back in the studio, at the bench, whatever you want to call it, with the Hawke Frontier Ø34 FFP 5-30 by 56. And we were just lacking a couple scores from when we were at the long distance range, and we're just going to run through them all and take them one at a time. So the illumination on this, I'm really very impressed with the way that they've gotten the light out into every part of the reticle in this thing. I am not very impressed with the way the tautness of the knob, so that's a 6. The parallax, as I said in the film, it's almost a little bit too light, so I'm going to give that a 6 as well. The turrets, I'm not a big fan of the locking turrets, but I'm not going to let that deduce from what I think of them. But what I am going to let pull away from them is the huge impact the zero stop has on this thing. So I'm going to give that a 5. And the eye relief, which is actually pretty good on this thing, that's a 7 to me, which is also quite good for a scope in this price range. The glass is also a 7. There is a surprising lack of chromatic aberration in this thing. I really like the way that the light transmissions through it. It's not that bad at all. The zoom, really nice on the tautness of the zoom. There's a good zoom band, 5-30 in this thing, so that's not too shabby at all. This racks up a 7. Overall, on the build quality and overall on the look, feel, and finish of this thing, I'm going to give this an 8 on the overall score. We do get a 34mm tube. We do get a nice fully metal scope that is made in China. Like a lot of other scopes today, this scope is made in China. This is a good, viable option for long range shooting. If you don't have the zero stop in there, we're going to talk about in a later episode, we're going to talk about how to make sure and measure that you get the correct mount and rail for your scope, so that you can be in the absolute bottom of your scope, maybe with 0.5 mil left at the bottom, so that you can use all of that elevation, so you don't need your zero stop. But that's a different episode. For right now, this was the Hawke Frontier 34mm FFP 5-30 zoom band with a 56mm bell. Not too shabby for, well, what's effectively, I guess, $1,000 or so. $1,300, I think it is. Yep. So remember to subscribe. I have past the line of monetization, I guess. I can now have supers. I'm not quite sure what that means. I forgot to read all of it. I guess it means that some of you can purchase a subscription or whatever. Do that if you feel so inclined. Please still subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment. I always enjoy reading your comments. I will eventually get back to all of you. So, yeah, stay tuned and stay safe.